Hey you guys, it's your girl Glamazante and I'm back with another video. So y'all see me in a new setup because number one, I have been decorating my house like crazy. So this is one of the rooms I actually ended up DIYing in here. I'm gonna actually have a full video of the whole closet tour coming soon. But as of right now, I'm just here to give y'all the tea and a spiel about the floor, okay? Okay, so first things first, starting off, I always felt like that when you have a beauty room or you do something like that, it's always very chic and clean when you have hardwood floors. Number one, because if you want to do an OOTD, if you want to get cute in front of a mirror, like I just feel like it just looks better aesthetically, especially when you wearing heels and on carpet. It just, to me, was never like it was never a look. This is the list of things you guys will need to do this project. Some of them you can probably switch out for other things, but this is what I use to do the project. I seen the idea of everybody taking like this hardwood laminate floor over top of the carpet type of vibe. So I had to do a little bit of research and then I got to it and it was fairly easy to do. I promise you, this is not like the hardest thing at all to do at all. I'm gonna run through step by step exactly what I did, how I did it. I had to measure my floor. So I took my tape measure and actually measured my floor and I figured out this room actually ended up being 11 feet by 12 feet. I went to the store and I'm like, okay, the first thing I know I'm going to need is actually some plywood. I'm going to need a hard surface down on the ground so that when I'm stepping on it, it isn't soft, it doesn't break, it isn't floppy. Like I need something with some weight to it, but it's actually going to work. So when I was in there, the guy originally was trying to tell me that I needed to get this $50, $60 plywood. And I see why he told me that, because it was a clean finish plywood, meaning it was smooth on top, it was smooth on bottom, it was not going to crack and it was not going to break. But I just was not interested in using that plywood because I felt like it was entirely too much. It was like $47 or $50 and I'm like, I'm not paying that, especially for something that is like low-key kind of temporary. So what I ended up doing was I kept sourcing out other pieces of plywood all around, and then I seen some that was like $15 and I was like, okay, this is right up my alley. I don't know what the measurements of my plywood was, but I know it was fairly big. You need plywood that is thick enough for you to step on it and stand on it. I believe my plywood that I got was maybe about an inch tall. I think it was about an inch tall, I'm not gonna lie. And also, if you have carpeted floors, you need to make sure that the door will be able to go over the carpet and slide, over the plywood and slide back outside of the plywood. Because if not, you're gonna have all the plywood laid up in here perfectly, but it's not gonna be able to go over your door. You know, I got all the plywood up in here, but the plywood that I need to use underneath, like where the door opens and closes, it had to be thinner plywood just because my door wouldn't actually open and close, right? So with me, I knew 11 times 12 ended up being 132. I had to figure out how many pieces of plywood to get. Now with doing my measurements and the measurements of how the plywood was inside of there, I ended up needing 5 pieces of plywood, because I would use all 4 of them and then half of the 5th one. Now I was gonna try to put everything in my G-Wagon, but that definitely wasn't gonna work because you was gonna have to cut it in too many smaller pieces. And with doing the floor, I would like to keep the pieces all as big as I can. That's how big I want to keep them. If you can't do that option and you have to cut it down into squares, it can still work. But with me, it was just a preference of wanting to have the plywood as big as the plywood would stay. And for the first hour to rent the pickup truck, I believe it was only $19 for the first 75 minutes. And that's like an hour and 15 minutes. I only live like 10 minutes from the Home Depot. So I was like, let me get this, take the plywood home, come right back, boom. This is the fun part, and this is the most creative part, is when you actually want to figure out what kind of tile do you want for your floor, right? So with the tiling of my floor, I wanted something that was going to be very light colored, but I also didn't want it to be so light that it looked kind of tacky. But I didn't want it to be very, very dark either. So I knew I had 2 options. Either I was going to do something that was gray, or I was going to do something that was really, really, really like a very bright wood. But the bright wood that I wanted, they actually did not have it available. And this is the color I actually wanted, but they didn't have that. So I was like, okay, let's try to go with the gray. If you're having a hard time trying to figure out what type of tile what color towel you want to use. All you have to do is put the towel on the ground, stand on it, take a picture of yourself, or get somebody to take a picture of you standing on it, and then look at it, because that is what helped me. This was the first one I originally was about to buy, and I was like, let me put it on the ground, see what I look like. Stand on it. I was like, oh no, this is too many colors. So then I went with this one, and I think I just looked a lot better on it, and I think it would be more cohesive with going all my fits, all that kind of stuff. It is what it is. There was 6 inches by 36 inches, so that means they were like more so like, they were skinny and long. That's kind of how it was. But a particular towel that I picked, it wasn't the one where you peeled the adhesive off and it was just a whole sticky back and you put it down on the ground. That was not the one I had. So I ended up getting the Traffic Master Grip Strip flooring. I like this flooring because when you open up the packaging, it will have different, the whole bottom of it is not sticky, but the top of it will be sticky, and then the other side, it won't be sticky. And you know what? Let me actually show y'all, because I don't think y'all gonna get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So this is the tile that I have, right? This is the tile called Khaki Oak. If you see the back of it, it is not sticky at all. Like, it's not sticky. But then with each piece of towel, it's sticky right here on the blue part. So with this towel, the way it works is you have another piece of towel like this, right? And then you're supposed to take this, that blue part is sticky. This blue part is sticky. And you're supposed to lay them actually on top of each other. And when you lay them on top of each other, this is how they stick. They stick by the blue part. And I don't want to stick it completely together because I feel like that's not gonna look right. But this is how it sticks, and this is how I did my floor. Now, if you want your floor to actually look very realistic, you have to do it like, I forgot the exact word, but it can't be like this, because it's just gonna be all the same thing. So what you do is you lay it like this, you lay the other one like this, so it's like all kind of, wherever these two is at, the other one starts in the middle. Like, you just keep doing it like that. So when I went on the website, I put in that my room was 11 feet by 12 feet for the Khaki Oak. And that's how I knew how many boxes to get. And it was telling me, I believe, like 7 boxes is what I need. Girl, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy 7 boxes. I'm probably gonna buy 5 boxes. I bought 5 boxes and I only ended up using 4 of the boxes and a half. I didn't even use up all the boxes needed. So I was like, okay, that was like, I didn't even need all that. But what I will also say, take in consideration, if you're doing a room like mine, you're not gonna see underneath here. Like, so with these underneath here, I don't have any flooring underneath there, because it made no sense. That saved a lot of tiles that I would have had to use. And then even over here with the mirror, I don't have any tiles underneath here either. So that saved some tiles as well. So I was kind of cutting corners wherever I could. So from Home Depot, I ended up getting my tile. I got my plywood. I also had to get me some gloves, because to deal with plywood, I didn't want splinters and stuff in my hands. And I got me some duct tape. So off Amazon, I ended up getting a circular saw. And the circular saw is what I'm gonna use to cut through on the plywood. And that way, you could use a hand saw, but that's gonna take forever. But with a circular saw, it's fairly easy to use. I have no prior experience. I did this circular saw before when I did my bedroom and did the wood in my bedroom. But other than that, that was the only time I ever really used it. And I did an amazing job. I went ahead and laid my plywood down. Everything ended up working out. I did have to have a ruler so I could cut a little bit of pieces off. So if it wasn't aligning, I just would cut it off, take it right outside of my balcony, use the handsaw to do it. The only issue I had was when I got over there to the door, because the door is actually like a trapezoid shape. So I ended up taking some white paper, like a big sheet of paper, and I marked out the stencil, made the big trapezoid of what side it was. I took that trapezoid and put it on top of the plywood, and then I cut that shape out and then put it there, and it fit perfectly. That's how I did it. And when you use the saw, make sure you use your safety attire. Now with me, I did have my Versace slippers on and my Bottega sunglasses, but a win is a win. Now when you have all your plywood laid down, this is the time you would take the duct tape. You take the duct tape and you tape all the plywood down together. This is optional, because I feel like, did it really matter if I did that? I don't know. But did I need to do all that? Probably not. I don't know. I did it, but I mean, I could see where it kept everything together, but low-key, I really didn't need to do all that, right? With doing the tile that I use, is actually very easy to cut. I was surprised. You only have to take like a razor blade, or just like a, you know, a little razor knife, and you push it down, and then you push it down again. It doesn't even have to go all the way through the tile, but just make a little, like, you know, cut on the top of it, and then it just snaps right in half. It's super easy to do, and that's how I ended up laying the tile down. So that was how that went down. Now, as far as the removal process, this tile is not glued to the ground. The tiles are actually glued to each other. So you have to think about it. The tiles are almost together as if it's a big mat. Like, so when it's time to go, I probably could just fold it in half and end up taking it out here, maybe buy one box of new tile and then kind of fix the little pieces that maybe messed up. But other than that, it actually is going to stay together because it's like a big mat. So I do like the fact that it's not to the plywood, and I can use this again. It was fairly just that simple. It literally was that simple. The common question I get is it soft underneath here? It is not soft. I walked on it with my heels. I step on it. It doesn't, well, the plywood isn't bouncing up and down, but I also do have like this whole part of the closet like on top of it holding down the plywood. Then I got this big old mirror over here on this side holding down the plywood. So honestly, it doesn't really present the opportunity for it to like buckle and fold and come up. But that was exactly how it was. Like, it was just that simple. It was not that hard. I hope you guys kind of understand. I feel like that, you know, when I did it initially, I thought it was gonna be so many more like difficult steps. I would say the most difficult part is actually sizing out the room and then putting your stuff, sizing out the room and getting all the wood in the right pieces, because you have to, you know, take an inch off, and then maybe you might be a little bit off, then you have to do it again. That was like the most difficult part. Everything else was fairly easy. So altogether, it was like $300 to get hardwood floors in here, and I can reuse them. I can take them with me. They are not a permanent thing. I can pick them up and go, and the carpet underneath here is gonna be perfectly fine. If you wanna give even more extra coverage with the carpet, I would say you could just put down some trash bags or some type of like, just some type of lining down. I mean, it's really not needed because it's just wood, plywood and that, but everything is hard. Like, you can hear it. Like, even with this, I want to tap on it real quick. You hear it? Like, it just feels like a floor. Like, if I promise you, if I didn't tell y'all and you walked in here, you would not be able to tell, because you can't feel no difference. It's literally no difference on the floor. So this is how I did my hardwood floors inside of, well, I guess you can call it hardwood or laminate, whatever. They was being technical, but this is what I'm using on my freaking beauty room. I wanted to really give the beauty room like a vibe and a look, so this is what it is. But if you guys are interested in actually seeing the full beauty room tour, and I'm going to be showing you the accessories, the hangers, all the different stuff I'm using, definitely stay tuned, because I'm gonna be dropping a lot of like home content, beauty. I'm just back, okay? I'm back. I said I was gonna be posting at least once a week. But if you guys like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, thumbs up, watch it as many times as you need to. If you need a checklist of things that you need, it will be linked in the bio as well. And I will see you guys.